Hi, Nanette. Thank you so much for joining this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm very good, thanks. Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Same here. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you and learn more about your journey as well as what you currently do and helping people with their life as well. So walk me through where did everything got started, your business journey into helping people.
Okay, my journey started in 2020 when it was time for everyone to sit back in their homes and figure out what they were going to do. And I started being certified as a life coach, and I transitioned to being a health coach. And then a couple years ago, I discovered that divorce coaching existed. And because I'm a woman who divorced after nearly 25 years of marriage,
Hmm.
three adult children, life is just going along and no one has a smooth, perfect marriage. But I was really blindsided by all of this. So it took a long time for me to heal, to move forward, and to figure out what was the next purpose for me in life. My children were adults at this time. And it kind of just grew. And divorce coaching, specifically for women divorcing after decades of marriage,
Yeah.
it just seemed it was a natural fit. And now I'm truly on a mission. It's my purpose, and I want to be on these platforms to spread my message because the majority of the population has no idea that divorce coaches even exist.
Yes,
And
I think like a first time I heard myself as well. Yeah, we had
yes.
relationship coaches, but not divorce coaches. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And even there's even now attorneys who are encouraging their clients to seek divorce coaching because what I always say is divorce, it's an emotional journey,
Mm.
just a legal battle. You need more than just an attorney to get through this.
Yeah.
I look back, I'm up almost like 9 or 10 years divorced. I would have benefited so greatly from a divorce coach, just someone to help me through preparation, but also the emotional journey of it all. You think that it's all going to be fine, the spouse, it seems to be good until it's not. And then you have a brain fog, your life is derailed, you don't know what direction to go in. And somehow after 20, 30, sometimes 40 years of marriage, where do you go? There's so much to think about.
Yeah.
And I just want my message to be heard that this is so important. Um, Going through the process of divorce, it's important to have that emotional support.
Yeah, that is like a really important part because when you're with someone, it makes so much easier with the life you're going through and everything. You value it. And when you, as you soon apart from it, because this is the person you was like a close to, and now after like a 10 years, 20 years, you feel like everything started from scratch and everyone, probably people around you started to win off because of you was in a great relationship and everything seems to be fine. And all of a sudden, you fall apart, and now you don't have anyone to lean back on and you don't
Very
know
true.
what to do. And you get some kind of different. Obviously, I'm happily married 6 years now. But even then, when
Congratulations.
I think about it, I always stay prepared. Like life can anything happen, not only just a divorce. Like it could be I lose my spouse, or could be I probably die, and we have to be like fall apart. When that thing happens, and it's not easy things to take on. Like especially if you have a good marriage, if you have like a good relationship and all of a sudden, some people are age 50, age 60, age even 70, they get divorced and unexpected, like 30 years of their life, 40 years of their life. And things happens and when they happen, they're like, this person needs to be this and that. Right now, it's like completely opposite. And
Right.
there is like so many emotional things involved in it, especially like when you have like a long-term relationship, all of a sudden it's just breaking off. Some people can take it, some people cannot take it. So with that, like a work you do right now, you're the divorce coach. What do you do
Mhm.
exactly with like someone is going through the emotions? Like how do you help them?
So specifically, when a client comes to me, my intention is to have them come to me even when they're just thinking about divorce, and they're just preparing. They haven't hired their attorney yet because there are some very specific steps that they need to take. You know, clearly I want them to work with not just me, there's many divorce
Yeah.
coaches out there, but work with a coach that can set you up with, you know, financial advisors need to be involved. Sometimes real estate agents need to be involved. You might have to sell your
Mm.
home, but you know, there's so many decisions that need to be made even before you hire an attorney. And then the emotional side of it, sometimes it's just listening. Sometimes it's just listening to what they have to say. I specifically was talking to a client yesterday, and she was saying how her husband is being very cordial and very cooperative, and she's filed and all is good. And I just said to her, just be careful, because just any moment, though, that can change. And sure enough, she said to me today, you were right. He's done this, this, and this. And I said, you know, first of all, I said, well, I love to hear those words, I'm right, but only from my children. But, you know, but I said, yeah, you have to now be prepared and know that you're not dealing with the person that you married 20 years ago.
Mm.
That person wanted to take care of you. And, you know, emotionally, I want to make sure that they are doing something for themselves every day, whether it be, you know, learning to, I hate to use the word meditate because it scares a lot of people off, but just finding that moment of, you know, breathing techniques. Essential oils were my favorite. Just, and we work together on that, you know, on how to find what they can do. They can go for a walk, go for a bike ride. Do they like to hike? They need to find ways to direct their thinking when thinking gets to be very heavy.
Yeah.
You know, so again, each person is different. They get to me at each a different stage. Sometimes they're in the process and almost done. So then we want to work on, you know, what's next with your life? What do you want to do? And I always say, this is not starting over. This is a new beginning. You get to figure out what that chapter looks like, that the next book, you know,
Mm.
bring back more, even no matter what stage, do something that you used to love to do,
Yeah.
that being married and running a household and raising children took you away from, you know. So let's dive into that. Let's see what we can do. Join a class. Some women will say, well, how do I meet new people? The first thing they have to do, and it's a scary step, is step out of their comfort zone. You know,
Yeah.
join a group, join a painting class, a photography class. But these are all things that we explore together.
Mm.
And, you know, often they'll say, well, when should I meet with you? I said, well, you know, clearly we have to work on that. But I said, oftentimes clients will like to meet with me the day before they're meeting with their attorney. You
Right.
know, let's make sure we're asking the right questions. Let's make sure that you are venting to me and not to them, because their clock ticks quickly.
Yeah.
You know, those dollars add up with an attorney. That's not like that with a coach, you know. If someone needs to ask me a question or text me or email me, just because it's not our session time, of
Mm.
course, I want to be there for you. And I've always told my clients at the end of a session, don't forget, if you need something, if you have a quick question, if you just need to vent, send me a message. You know, if I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. But sometimes just that knowing that someone is there to listen, someone who's been through it already, they can ask
Yeah.
questions. Well, what should I expect here? It's just really alleviates some of the stress and the anxiety. And, you know, I tell women all the time, I don't even want to think about how much money I wasted being emotional, being overwhelmed uh, with my attorney. And she was very kind, listened, but she still sent me the bill at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how normal though, isn't it? Like obviously they're doing their part, but
Yeah.
obviously you need more than like just net only, and they can only do like so much because that's their job. Like they cannot be everything to everyone, and that sets apart like where you come in and when someone is going through like any kind of like emotional disaster with their life, they cannot think right. So could be like, like an just common sense, not go through like a common practices, such as like you talked about, like go through your hobbies or your passion and things like that. That time, like they can't even remember like what they're passionate about. They can't remember about like what they enjoy. Same happened with
Right,
me. Like I never been divorced. Obviously, I lost both of my parents very early age 13.
right,
And that time, first 6 7 months, I didn't know what to do. It's just like a proper blanked out. Like I didn't know what I was enjoying. I used to
it's
like
great.
playing games, I used to play sports, but I was just blank. I didn't know what to do with it. Then
Right,
eventually, slowly, I just going through the process. I start playing badminton or playing games. I was going to the gym, and I just realized these things I actually love and enjoy. Like, why didn't I do earlier? Then my anxiety, my depression would have been so much better. But that
right,
time, like when things happens to you, like you can't remember at all. Like the simple things, simple. Right now, I have the formula. Right now, I write it down. So every time things happens to me, like right now, I have the tools. I go and use like this thing I need to be doing. Whatever
right,
problems happens with me. So probably have like a day or two, like I have a disaster moment, but not like in months or years. So
right, right.
what
And
do
I
you
tell
think?
you that,
Yeah,
I say, you are so welcome to
yeah,
have a day where you cry, you scream, punch
yeah,
the pillow. Absolutely, because you have got to move through those emotions.
yeah.
But the next day or the next hour or the next afternoon, you have to come out of it. You have
Mm,
to you have to push through it, but you definitely have to address every emotion. And you've mentioned grief a couple times.
yeah,
Divorce, there's a grieving process,
yeah.
much like a death. And that was one of the emotions that I was not prepared to feel because I just didn't expect it.
Mm,
But it's so natural. It's so normal. And you have to feel those feelings
yeah.
and learn to move through them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a similar to like you losing someone like with death, just same process, and you being with the person like so long, even
Yes,
though you have like a love with someone, like as an animal, you're gonna cry, you have the grief, and this is a human
absolutely.
being. Like you shared everything with the person, your emotion in shared stories, probably have a children with them, and right now like you're falling apart, and that's like a kind of death. It just end. Death means it's end. So the same way it's like ended. So the end. With you, you've been working with so many clients of yours, and you have experienced it. So what do you think like a main causes for like a divorce right now, like a you see with your clients and
Oh, well, specifically with my clients, because they are
yeah.
divorcing later in life, a lot of times um, they are just kind of the kids they've moved out, they're empty nesters, they almost don't know each other anymore,
Mhm.
or they've lived for a couple years of frustration and they're kind of they're kind of done. They're like,
Yeah.
they've reached 50, 60 years old. I'm approaching 60 and we want to live our life. We know now the clock's ticking. It's always ticking, but somehow when you get older, it's louder. And they just truly realize that they don't want to live like that anymore. Sometimes and I say women only because I only coach women, but specifically, they've lived their husband's life.
Mm.
They've done what they want them to do. And I think it's just generational too.
Yeah.
We've a lot of women have followed their lead and they don't want to do it anymore. Often it's infidelity, sometimes it could be, mental illness, but a lot of times they've just reached the point where they want to live their own life and not someone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, what will be like your one advice if you want to give someone is just going through the process of like getting divorce or planning to give a divorce to someone or just been through a divorce and cannot go overcome it?
So I don't understand the question. At each different stage, what do I recommend to
Yeah,
them?
so what would be like your advice to someone is going through that divorce or like a thinking of giving someone divorce.
Gotcha. So for anyone really, but like I
Yeah.
said, for my clients, I truly want them to talk to someone, a coach, before they file for divorce, because society tells us you're getting a divorce, you need a divorce attorney. And absolutely you do. But that is not the first person they should hire. They need to talk to a coach, get an idea as to what they anticipate, what's to anticipate, but also the next person that they should go to, I always recommend a financial advisor, because especially for the women that I coach, many of them they don't have a checking account.
Mhm.
They don't have credit cards. Sometimes their name isn't on the house. Their husband controls the money. And again, often a generational thing. But that is what that is why I want to be on these platforms, so women can hear me. I am not an advocate for divorce. I'm an advocate of preparation and knowledge of the process and being prepared, so that when it comes time to sign, that on that dotted line, they know that they've done everything they can, they've done everything properly, gotten advice, financial advice, emotional support, and legal guidance. And you can't do that if you just, like you said earlier, you can't think straight, you feel paralyzed, you don't even know, there's no common sense in your life right now, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
So you need to talk to someone like a coach, so that we can just kind of uh, make a plan, give them some direction. One of my clients, the very first visit, we hadn't even started our sessions yet. And at the end of the conversation, she said, I already feel better. I already feel less stress. I already feel less anxiety. And that was just because I kind of gave her a picture of how this will all work. The biggest thing, one step at a time, one day at a time. Don't don't rush through it. Because one of the things I say is going into a divorce overwhelmed and unprepared
Yeah.
will lead to costly mistakes.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, yeah. So I
All
hope
right.
that answers the question.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing the advice. So we are nearly end of this podcast. So before we leave, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself, your business, where's the best place to find you?
The best place is to go to my website. It's Live Life Now with Purpose, and you'll find all of my resources, all of my, pricing and plans, and I've got books. I've written a couple books, and yeah, they can find out everything there.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time, Nanette. I wish you best of luck with your business and your
Thank
life. And
you.
thank you so much for coming tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
Same here, and that was my pleasure. So that's a
Thank
wrap,
you.
guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to listen to Nanette or visit our website, you can reach out to her on a social media platform and you can find her on our website. So until then, talk to you in the next episode. Take care.